Anytime we want to really impact the way that care is delivered, we have to sell people on the idea and get their buy-in to partner with us, to collaborate, to participate in creating all of these new things. And in particular, because the nature of healthcare delivery is we're mostly talking about behavior change. We're trying to get patients to act different. We're trying to get providers to act different. And that's not something that is that we can do on our own. And so for that reason, people are much more likely to engage in that type of project with you if you can tell them a compelling reason why they should.
If innovation comes up with a new model of how we deliver or a new way to connect to people, if we say to people, does this help connect with or meet the needs of our patients, a lot of that resistance drops away. Now, people are people, and change is difficult, but we've found that it's easiest to spread information when you have data. Physicians are data-driven, and when you show that the data makes a difference to the patients and their families.
Whenever we have gone out and done research in order to understand a particular problem or issue, and we come back and we make some sense of that, what we're essentially doing when we present back to physicians, which we're always doing, is holding up a mirror to their practice. And to the extent that we are accurately reflecting their experiences in those rooms, they are more likely to believe us. So they recognize that they've all had the experience of sitting with a patient who's very upset or not understanding something or not doing something that the physician really wants them to do, or whose family members have a different point of view of what's going on. And so they recognize that piece. I think that's how we work with physicians and partner with them.
The thing I rely upon most here, which also I played through in graduate school, but is storytelling and narrative work. I think that is really the backbone of the work that the Spark program in particular, but really the Center for Innovation as a whole, does here at the clinic, is tell stories. And the more compelling the story, the more likely we are to sell the idea through the institution.
These are two different languages, the language of description and the language of measurement. And so it can be a great challenge if people who describe are outsourced to come in and help people who measure. So one of the things we're careful to do is when we get to the stage that findings are shared, we try to make sure that that message is crafted and informed by people who speak both languages.
That's really where the storytelling piece, I think, is critical to what we do, and that in sort of relationship management. It's also how we manage relationships. It's how we make friends in the institution, and then we call on those friends for favors or for partnerships.
We've got a group of surgeons who've been, we typically do it like 6 in the evening, and they've been operating since 5 a.m. And they're looking at you like, what do you want me to do with that information? I mean, that information is too dense. I don't know how to respond, and I don't know how to act. So we have to be really careful about pulling out what's most useful at that moment to that person, and then kind of basically putting everything else into our kind of store, and knowing it will be valuable again, but not trying to sell too much at the same time. And that's really hard.
We're a little bit like surfers who are waiting to catch the waves. So we do tons of research, and a lot of that research doesn't go anywhere right when it's done. So it might be sponsored research. We often talk about these things we do after we've done research, which is the roadshow. The research is actually the easiest part because it requires so little of the people. They just have to give us access, and since we're all within Mayo Clinic, that's not even that hard to do. So we'll go out down to neurology and do observations for a couple of weeks, or we'll interview some people. Those are all very low involvement, low risk things for them to do. And then we come back with this story about what's going on, these opportunity areas, and this idea and this way that we can move forward. But now we're talking about them marshaling efforts and changing their behavior. And that tends to take them a while to get to the point where they're ready to do that. And so, we're very much, we kind of put all of the research out into the world, and then we kind of wait. And we wait until the moments come up, both internally and externally, that now demand what we have to offer, and then we try to be there and capitalize on that and say, oh, okay, here's what we could do, here's what we could try.